way, like if you will go down like that spiral of eating sugar, you just like cold turkey stop. Let's say you cold turkey stop. I mean, I did that with alcohol. So like last year after my birthday, I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna stop alcohol for the rest of the year. So I remember it was just really easy mentally because I was just gonna say no to all alcohol. It was like an easy choice versus like if I allowed myself to have like 2 to 3 drinks per week. I've seen friends do this. I'll have 2 to 3 drinks per week. You're still kind of it's easy to like kind of fall down that slope, and it's a lot harder to stop yourself from falling down that slope than to not even like jump onto that slope in the first place. So yeah, I think that totally makes sense, and yeah, I can relate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat with that.
Yeah.
Is that I think it's not even like the personal challenge. Like I think if you were by yourself and you were going home every night by yourself, and you're like, I'm gonna have three drinks a week every week, but no more, no more than that. That'd probably be pretty easy. But when you're in a social setting where you're like going out, you're doing whatever, and your friends are saying, "Oh, yeah, you just had one, have another one,"
Yeah.
or "I brought you another one," or
Yeah.
whatever it might be. It's kind of like, well, that becomes a lot harder. That's sort of like the feedback loop, or like the sugar addiction kicking in, where
Yeah.
it's, oh, there are these other factors that can impact how difficult that is. And I've always found that really interesting. But people understand if you're like, no, I don't do that, versus I'm not doing that tonight.
Yeah.
Is a very different conversation with people.
Yeah. But the amount of energy you have to do to actually say no. So like let's say at a party, right? People want you to take shots or drink. The amount of energy you have to that's required for you to like say no, I don't want a shot, especially after like people try to peer pressure you. You have to have a very strong wall around yourself that I actually don't think a lot of people have to say no to that. So either you have to have a really strong wall and like be extremely committed to what you've set out for yourself, or it's a lot easier to say like, oh yeah, I don't drink, and then people literally will just stop bothering you about it. And yeah,
they don't want to be like, oh, he was actually an alcoholic,
Yeah.
and XYZ happened, which isn't the case for you,
Yeah, yeah.
fortunately. But I am interested. Can you talk to me a little bit about your decision not to drink, or like to stop doing that for the remainder of that year?
Yeah. I mean, these days I still don't really drink. I just made an exception for my friends' weddings, and I decided that in the beginning of the year. But yeah, I mean, I think at the time I had a lot more goals and things I wanted to accomplish. And I felt like, I was in New York, so I was enjoying like just going out every weekend, drinking a lot, being really hungover over the weekend. And yeah, really is just to focus on my goals, and it's all really for like personal development. My goal is to just like level up every aspect of myself, relationships, wealth, health, all aspects of myself. So that was the main reason. I was turning 30 at the time, so usually when you have like milestone birthdays, it's easier to like make habit changes and switch. There's actually science behind that. So yeah, I thought it was the right time. It felt right, and yeah, then I went forward with it.
Yeah, I've seen that trend with quite a few of my friends. A lot of the guys I train jiu-jitsu with, for example, too, is because, from a health perspective, I'm reading all these books, read Outlive, Why We Sleep, and it's like, well, alcohol kind of screws up your sleep, which happens to be really important. I also, for the last couple of years, kind of since the beginning of COVID, stopped drinking really at all. And it was largely because I tried to think about what value it added in my life. And I was like, I don't think I really even like drinking. I used to drink a lot and like go out all the time and do those types of things when I was in college and grad school. And then I realized like, well, I don't like the taste of it. I'm a control freak. I don't really like feeling impaired in that way. I don't like how fat I get, which is a big one for me with alcohol. Like what value is this creating in my life? Like, I'm sure you can tell. I mean, you can still go out if you don't drink. You can still have a lot of fun. You can still do all the same activities. You're just not spending all the money that you were before. And honestly, if you get a club soda with a lime in it, nobody knows the difference unless they're buying shots or whatever it might be. And, that to me was like a huge eye opener. It was like, wow, this is doing nothing for me. Why do I do it? Is it's because everyone else is doing it? You know, even a lot of my friends still drink. I'll still go out with them and do whatever. But it's just like, oh no, I'm good. Like, I'll be fine even not setting. And that was a big epiphany for me. It's like, holy cow, like,
Yeah.
I don't need this, which is crazy. Like, why do we do so many things that we don't need, that don't bring us any joy, just because we were the conditioned that way, or you know, our peers are doing some of those types of things.
Yeah, I mean, like I also don't get that much value out of drinking these days. I'm not more social. I'm just as social. I'm not like I'm very comfortable talking to strangers. When I was like in college, I definitely was less comfortable and had more anxiety around it. So alcohol helped me like quell a lot of that anxiety. But as I've gotten older, it's, you know, I've been able to kind of like work through those things.